Welcome to Queen City Cyber Consulting's channel.
Welcome back to Queen City Cyber Consulting, where we explore topics that range from one thing to another and back again. Today, while I was browsing around my personal Facebook feed, I came across a study out of, well, it wasn't the study, it was a news article out of DC, that would be Washington, DC. And having been involved in the cyber field for almost 20 years and talking to people in the community, this didn't surprise me a whole lot. And it's this study that Gallup did. I'll include a link to this with the video. And what it's titled is Americans Cool Toward AI. So after 2 years of improving attitudes toward AI, Americans turn skeptical. And it's interesting that this has happened. So what they open up with is this statement here. Americans' familiarity with artificial intelligence has grown over the past 2 years. I'm going to argue against that, by the way. Today, 70% say they are somewhat or extremely knowledgeable about AI, up from 64% in 2024. Again, probably not very factual. So now, all this increase in knowledge and understanding that people are claiming for themselves, instead of making people more comfortable with the technology, which is known as AI, they're now saying, I don't know about this. More Americans believe now that AI does more harm than good and expect AI to reduce the number of U.S. jobs over the next decade and less likely to trust businesses to use it responsibly. I've got some questions from all of this because I know people. I interact with people every day. I talk to them, both technical and non-technical. People don't know what AI is, and they don't know where it is, and they don't know how it's being used. I talked to a family a week ago about AI, and they were like, no, it's terrible. Data centers, awful. Now, granted, data centers are bad in and of themselves, but you know what? AI was around before the big data center push. There's something else going on there, but we're not going to go down that path. But then I asked a simple question. Do you have Siri or something like that in your house? Well, yeah. Guess what, folks? That's AI. But yet people will sit back and say, we know what AI is, and we don't like it. I mean, there was just a study I did a video on not long ago where AI was used to allow a man to walk again. AI is not all bad. Does it have some bad qualities to it? Yes. Can it be misused? Of course. What technology can't? You can take a rock and use it to hammer something into the ground to hold a shelter up. Or you can use it to hammer your friend and harm them. It's all a matter of how it's used. So people are running around right now being asked questions about AI, and that's the answer we're getting. So one of the things I want us to look at is, make sure I got the right one up here. I'm going to skip back and forth a little bit. Yeah, let's go with this one. Why not? AI in everyday life and techno-skepticism. Because this has happened before in human history, ladies and gentlemen. Ned Ludd, the Luddites, they were present in the past, and we'll talk about them as we go through this presentation. So, the big split. What are we talking about with AI? Well, this is where a lot of your surveys, your people who respond to the surveys, they miss out because they don't really understand AI or what it is or how it's used. So I split it out into two. So you got invisible AI. It's embedded. It's in your smartphone. Do you have a smartphone? Guess what? It's got AI embedded into it. Do you use a weather app? Guess what? It's got AI embedded into it. Do you use Spotify? Guess what? It's got AI embedded in it. People interact with AI almost continuously, but to them, they're not interacting with AI. Now, has it made their life easier? Oh, yeah. Because you know what? Siri's in my house. I can just yell, "Hey, Siri, what's the weather?" Guess what you're doing? You're interacting with AI. And there's a little bit of a difference there between the invisible AI and the deliberate AI. And it's an understanding on the human side of the house. Deliberate AI is where you may use, say, Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini to do searches for topics, to learn more, to gain information. A lot of the usage for this is concentrated amongst the more younger and more tech comfortable people that are out there, but they're using it in all kinds of ways. I mean, they use it to write emails. Now, granted, can it be misused? Yes. There was just a professor just recently released information where he had embedded, I think it was white text, into his questions in an effort to test and see if his students were using AI to cheat. And it came back, I think it was like 34 out of 36 or something along those lines. Don't quote me on those numbers. But 34 out of, say, 36 used AI and cheated on the test. So it can be misused. No different than any other technology that's out there. But the problem is that people don't understand that AI is already in their lives. They use it all the time. You got a smartwatch that interacts with your phone. Guess what? There's an element of AI in that. That's how it goes. Multiple surveys have been done. Gallup, Harvard findings show that 99% of U.S. adults at some point in the past week used a common AI product at least once. 83% used it 4 or more times. Sometimes knowingly, sometimes not knowingly. But nearly 2/3 of users failed to realize that the tools they were using was AI. So when these companies then come out with a poll and ask people, well, what's your knowledge of AI? Oh, I know what AI is. What do you take me for, a hick? What do you take me for, a backwoods guy that doesn't know what? I know what AI. They don't. In fact, a lot of people in tech don't really understand what it is. And Pew Research did a study as well that said only 30% of people that they talked to could even correctly identify standard AI applications. It's a gap in knowledge. But yet we'll run surveys on people who they can't even correctly identify what AI is and how it's used and where it's at. But yet they become the impetus for a movement, if you want to call it that. And it's just it's not wrong. When do people knowingly use AI? Well, searching and researching information. 60% of adults use AI chatbots looking up information. Even Google. I mean, we used to say, well, if you have you need an answer, go Google it. Okay, guess what? Google uses AI in the background. They use it to brainstorm. They use it to generate ideas and provide some inspiration for some creative ideas. That's all fine. They use it in the workplace. 37% said we use it to complete professional assignments. Commonly done. They use it in email. They use it in drafting messages and creating content. It is being used all over. So every time I see a study that comes out that says something along the lines of this, instantly I have to ask myself, do they even know what AI is? And despite them claiming they do, they don't. They are self-proclaimed gurus of knowledge, thinking that they know when in reality they don't. And it leads to a false generation of ideas and a backlash, which we'll get to here in a minute. So here's just some rates for things we already talked about. Unfortunately, I use it for, I myself use it for media creation as well. The owls that introduce and close all of my YouTube channel videos are AI created. I couldn't do that without AI, but yet AI gave me the ability to do something like that. It's a good thing if it's used properly. So, Ned Ludd, who was he? Well, legend says that old Ned Ludd lived back in the 18th century England, Leicestershire, and they call him the General Ned Ludd, because he rebelled against mechanized knitting frames. Because to him and to his followers, this was going to replace workers, which was bad. So they organized, called themselves the Luddites, and went around destroying automated looms. Now, this is hit and miss, but most of them weren't afraid of what the tech was itself, but what they were afraid of, and rightly so in some senses, economic disempowerment, falling wages, and substandard goods. Those are all still true with AI. But does that mean that the creation of the tech is bad and we should run around trying to smash it? No. What it means is we need to use it correctly and well and guard against its misuse. So don't be a Luddite when it comes to AI. Learn what it is. Experience it for yourself. So here we see it. They have the same economic and autonomy fears that the Luddites had. And today, and I've seen it, I mean, routinely, and heard it, that companies are laying off thousands upon thousands of people because of quote unquote AI. What you don't hear is after that, those same companies realize that AI is not able to do what the people could do, so they're having to hire back the workers that they let go because of a misunderstanding. The executive level had heard all the myths about AI and thought AI would replace the workers, and then when they tried it, found out it wouldn't work. Okay? It's a misunderstanding. It's a lack of knowledge, a lack of experience because AI is so new. And the mistrust, again, it wasn't anti-knowledge so much, it was anti-degradation. And today with AI, that same kind of skepticism flows forth because there's a lot of problems with AI: privacy, surveillance, the loss of human being. They're there, and they're things that have to be dealt with. But they have to be dealt with knowledge and responsibility. We can't just madly lash out because it's not going to fix the problem. And that's what the surveys are trying to do. And here you go, exploiting fear and distrust. I mean, social engineers who attack people all the time are already leveraging AI and using it in order to get into your systems. Employees who are at work, who fear losing their job because of lack of productivity, are secretly using AI in order to increase their productivity. That's just what they call modern Luddism. They're afraid of the tech, but they're going to use it anyway. It's like if I'm using a hammer, and believe you me, I've done this, I'm hitting the nail and I miss and hit my thumb instead. Oh, it hurts, but guess what? I don't quit using the hammer. Same thing with AI. And of course, deep fakes are everywhere. We're not going to delve into that. I talked about it in a previous video for IBM. There is an age and trust gap, and this is just common in with anything. Um, A lot of older people don't interact with AI as much as the younger do, and tech is just a dividing line. Um, 71% of older adults, according to the AARP, feel uncomfortable with automated decision making in finance and healthcare, and I can't disagree with them there. Because there have been documented instances where AI was wrong, and that's why there's a process here called human in the loop. AI is not autonomous. There has to be a human somewhere in there who is reviewing and explaining and making sure what the AI has produced isn't wrong. Because AI is not omniscient, it's not all knowing. We have to have humans involved. If we don't, we fail. So why do they hesitate? Well, a lot of them, 77%, have concern about privacy and data harvesting, and rightly so. Um, and they avoid what they call deliberate AI, but guess what? They're still using it. I mean, we've got a semi war, call it what you will, going on, and it's come out that the enemy is using smartphones and tracking devices that our troops have to track where the bases are. I mean, really? Come on. And that's not new. That happened 10 years ago, too. So, yeah, privacy concerns are real, and that's why there has to be governance, and that's why there has to be ethics involved here. Lack of interest and control. A lot of people just really don't care. Um, and others are worried about how corporate entities are going to use the data that they're gathering on them. And guess what, friends? You got that bonus card from your local grocery store or gas station or whatever. Guess what? AI is reviewing all of your purchases in the background and marketing to you specifically. That's how it's designed to work. So if you're using a bonus card, you've granted permission for that organization, that company, to track you. So don't sit there and tell people that, oh, I know what AI is, when it's working everywhere around you and you won't acknowledge it. The sad part is a lot of teens, 66% or so, do use AI chatbots, and there have been some really, really sad results from that. And teens are losing the ability to research. I mean, I grew up in the era of the card catalog in the library, the Dewey Decimal System. If you wanted to learn something, you went to the local library and you had to find the book. Now, all I have to do is bring up Claude or Gemini or whatever and type in my request, and it'll give me a whole host of things. Uh, what needs to be done is that needs to be guardrailed so that the teens who are using it are forced to back check the AI as well. There's a big problem with cheating with it, which I already mentioned, so we're not going to go over that again. And I mean, we're looking at 10% of children between the ages of 5 to 12 are using chatbots already. And then 11 to 12-year-olds, 21% of them are already wearing AI integrated um, um, watches or something similar to that. Or they have a cell phone, which again is voice enabled, voice collection. AI is built into multiple systems on it, and nobody bats an eye. Nobody says they're uncomfortable with that. But when you ask the questions in certain ways, the Luddite in us all comes out. There is an emotional undercurrent here. That's because the emotion is outweighing the knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and folks, we don't know what AI is, where it is, how it's being used. We don't know all of it, but yet we act as if we do. That means we're being ruled by emotion, by what we're reading on the internet, by what polls, like this one I just showed you, are telling us to believe, instead of doing the research ourselves and learning what it is. So, I mean, we have to take it all with sort of a grain of salt and educate ourselves before we react in fear, take up the pitchforks and the torches, and go forth to conquer and destroy Frankenstein's monster. So from the 19th century Luddites all the way up to modern day non-technical users, human resistance is rarely about the hatred of the tech itself. It's about a loss of control and trust. That's what it comes down to. And attackers know this and they exploit it. So we need to be literate about what our systems are, what they're doing, what AI is, what it can do, what it can't do, and where it is before we jump off the cliff with the rest of the lemmings and fall into the sea. So, hopefully, a little common sense here, a little knowledge sharing here for you from me here at Queen City Cyber Consulting. Be careful. Don't fall into the trap. Don't be a Luddite. Learn about these systems before making a choice or a decision. Have a great day. Go forth and conquer.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.